Sir, how do you wish to plead, sir?
Guilty.
As we come on the air at noon, Nikolas Cruz officially pleaded guilty to assaulting a jail guard 9 months after the 2018 Parkland shooting. Opening statements for the jail battery trial were slated to start next week. The judge telling Cruz that the state would be using his guilty plea in this case as now an aggravating factor in seeking the death penalty for the Marjory Stoneman Douglas school shooting. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Kelly.
And I'm Gianna Caserta. Thanks so much for joining us. Our Angela Rozier begins our team coverage live outside the courtroom with those breaking details. Angela?
Gianna and Mark, you know, today's status hearing took sort of a different twist today. As you said, instead of discussing housekeeping issues as well as pre-jury selection issues in that battery case of Nikolas Cruz, instead he, the man accused in that massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, pleaded guilty to that battery case, therefore avoiding any trial. Now, as you may remember, that case, he was involved scuffling with a Broward Sheriff's deputy inside the jail. Cruz was charged with attacking Sergeant Raymond Beltran back on November 2018. That was 9 months after the Stoneman Douglas massacre. Now, this morning, he pled guilty on count 1, attempted aggravated battery on a law enforcement with a deadly weapon. Count 2, battery on a law enforcement officer. Count 3, depriving an officer of means of protection. And count 4, attempted use of a self-defense weapon against a law enforcement officer. Now, the judge accepted his plea. The case is separate from the trial in the school killings, but the judge stressed to Cruz that the outcome of the battery case could impact his murder trial. Now, Cruz's attorney also says they plan to make a plea deal on those murder cases, but the judge said that she will listen to that during a status hearing next week on Wednesday. Reporting live in Broward County, Angela Rozier, WPBF 25 News.
To continue our live team coverage, we have our Josie Carbonari.
All right, Josie, what can you tell us?
Well, so we were inside watching everything as it unfolded, and we weren't expecting Nikolas Cruz to get inside into the courtroom, and he had waived his right to be here, but he did end up being brought in by the judge after the defense had asked if they could move both pleas to Wednesday next week. She said absolutely not. She wanted to address those battery charges first, and so we did see him walk in. His demeanor was very quiet, meek. When he went into the courtroom, they went into a break, and we did see him speak with his attorneys. They were in deep discussion, and earlier the state did raise some questions about competency issues, and so when Cruz walked up, the judge did ask him about his health. At one point, Cruz did tell her that he felt nervous, and when the judge announced that his battery charges from 2018, he nodded at one point saying, "I think I'm good," saying that he did understand them all, pleading guilty to all 4 counts. Now, the Broward Sheriff's Office sergeant who was attacked was also in the courtroom, we're told. And as for the hearing to go over the plea deal for the murder and the attempted murder charges in the Parkland shooting case, they plan to plead guilty on all 34 charges, but that has been pushed back and scheduled to Wednesday at 9 a.m. For now, reporting live from Broward County, Josie Carbonari, WPBF 25 News.
Josie, Angela, thank you both. Now, we have joining us live right now Mark Shiner, criminal defense attorney, over the phone. Mark, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Of course, this was supposed to be a status hearing today. We end up getting this guilty plea on 4 counts. Tell me, did this surprise you to see this?
I think it's a little surprising, but nevertheless, I think that was the only option the defense really had in this particular case.
And why do you say that is the only option?
I think the evidence is so overwhelming, and I think his lawyer is trying to figure out a way to save his life, and hopefully the jury will spare him and not sentence him to the death penalty. I think this is the only play they had.
And the judge warning Cruz, though, that this will be or could be used for the homicide trial as well, that is very likely, and Cruz saying that he understands that's a possibility.
Well, the only way it could be used in the homicide case is if he takes the witness stand and tries to testify, then he's a convicted felon. Short of that, it probably will have no impact on the death penalty portion of the homicide case.
And Mark, you're saying that this pleading guilty to these 4 counts could actually help him in his next trial. Kind of explain to me how that should help at least keep him alive, like you were saying.
Well, I think because if he takes responsibility and enters a plea of guilty prior to trial on the capital case, his lawyer will argue that he's taken responsibility, and that's one of the factors a judge could consider in mitigation in terms of whether or not he deserves the death penalty. So I think that's the only play they have in this to try to spare his life.
What about the idea that that's already been a discussion? I mean, I know that they have mentioned before, his lawyers saying that he would plead guilty if they were to take the death penalty off of the table, but we haven't been able to come to that agreement now. Why do you think that that could change going forward?
Well, the lawyer for this particular defendant has the option to plead straight up to the judge, and then there'll be a second part of the trial as to determine whether he dies in prison of natural causes or he dies from the death penalty. And from the review of the evidence that I have, it looks like the only option is to enter a plea of guilty and ask the judge and the jury to spare his life. I think that's all they can do at this point.
All right, Mark Shiner, criminal defense attorney, joining us live with this initial reaction as Cruz pleads guilty to that jail battery case. Mark, thank you so much for joining us live this morning. Of course, this is a developing story on this Friday. We're going to be posting the very latest on WPBF.com throughout the day today. And if you have an opportunity now's a good time. Download that WPBF 25 News app on your smartphone for the latest as well.